Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Estefania and I'm an illustrator from Quito, Ecuador, and I make videos or do videos about illustration, creativity and craft. So if you want to see more, you can check out my other videos. Okay, so for today I would like to share a process that I've been doing because I'm going to a fair and I'm preparing my portfolio. So I am working on chapter books and specifically designing for young adults or maybe children or young adults. So this involves a cover and back cover design and also on the chapter illustrations. So for this I chose Harry Potter and the Philosopher Stone, the first one, and I think it's quite difficult, the theme that I chosen, because we already know that exists this kind of aesthetic of the characters because of all the movies and because they are so famous that it's quite difficult to make it your own. So I will try to make it with my style. Okay, so let's start with the things that I've done until now. Okay, so first thing I did was reading the book, the complete book. This is a Spanish version and is the paperback. I think I read it in maybe 4 days or something like this. And I have a notebook where I just write down all the details that are important, because I think, yes, we have to, as illustrators, we have to kind of interpret our version, but we also have to be careful with some specific things that the characters have that are, like, for example, we already know that Harry has a scar and is like a ray of light or something like this. So little details that the characters use, for example, in the clothes, or it will also guide us to make our illustrations or just like to brainstorm. So it has 17 chapters, and of course I'm not going to do the 17 chapters because it's too much, and I decided to make 4 or maybe 3 of them. And what I think about Harry Potter is that the magical thing or the essence of the story is the world that he lives in. So I wanted to reflect that, and I chose chapters that I wanted to illustrate according to this magical world that he lives in, because anyway, it's the first one, so it's an introduction of his world. So after reading this and writing down my notes, I watched the movie. Maybe it wasn't a good idea because it blocked me. The thing is to make something different from what you already know so you can stand out, and that's the tricky part when you are making these stories remake, like for example Alice in Wonderland or Harry Potter or other that just put you in your mind the aesthetic of the movies. So yeah, I don't think it was a good idea, but I already have watched the movie several times before. So okay, so what I did afterwards, I'm not a graphic designer and my background is more with contemporary art, so I don't actually know what's the type of like the bleeding or the measurements where the covers have to just fit in or just left on the border. So what I did is just chose the chapter books that I had. I have Alice in Wonderland, the Jungle Book, this one of Frida Kahlo by Maria Jesse. I think it's wonderful, it's so beautiful. And this one that is not quite a chapter book, but it's more like a novel or something, but it has the same idea, the same kind of structure and the same shape as the other ones. Okay, so what I did was just to make a map of these different measurements that these other books have. So I chose one of them, or maybe make a mixture, and I came out with one design. And I also measured, like you can see, this is the spine, and I also realized that, for example, there is this type of millimeter that the book has, and also when you're seeing the end pages, you have here like the book cover illustration page here inside, like 2 or 1 centimeter long here. So you have to keep in mind that, so you have to make the illustration bigger than actually this size, and you have to keep in mind the measurements of this one and the measurements of this kind of going down. So I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say. So I did like kind of my design and trying to choose the colors, which I just didn't. Actually, I didn't do that, and I chose the ones, the chapters that I wanted to illustrate. Probably this is not the best way to do it, but this is my way, because when I just work in something too much, I get too overwhelmed and I don't progress maybe as other people, because I don't use much sketchbook or planning for this. I just do it. So what I did is to make actual size of the illustrations that I wanted to make for the chapters. So I did this, and I did this. For example, this is the forest, or the first chapter here. Sorry, I'm very disorganized. So here, and I just did it on big, because this is the very basic, and it looks a little bit ugly, I know, but at the end I'm sure it's not going to look like that, because I use a lot of patterns and it's going to be different. So I make these ones in a very thin paper, and after tracing them, because I did this with pencil, I traced them with markers, so then I can translate them into my good paper, because I'm going to use gouache, and I use the lamp box. And I also did this one with the cover. Yes, after tracing these designs to the big paper, I already started yesterday, so you can see more or less. This is the cover, and sorry if I'm not doing something right, but this is the way I'm doing it. So I put some marks where supposed to be the spine here and the borders, and here are the other designs for the chapters. So after trace them, sometimes I don't realize that I push too much the pencil, so I erase them. Okay, so we're going to paint this baby, and let's see how it goes and how it's the ending of this illustration. And I'm not sure if I will do with the other chapter books. Let's see. Yeah, just one more thing. Just keep in mind that this is a very big project. Well, not that big, but it will take me several days. So the changes of the light, you will see it a lot. Sorry for that. Anyway, see you in a bit. Welcome to the voiceover. So, as you can see, maybe you have seen other videos about my work. I mostly use gouache, so I'm starting to paint with this material. And I already, as I said before, I already had traced my drawing, and I just need to fill up with all the colors. So for me, this is kind of like a big process, because I'm doing it sometimes layer by layer, and I love to make a lot of details. But of course, at the beginning, I just paint the bigger areas, and I know at this point it doesn't look that good, because it's kind of there's a lot of texture with the paint, but actually at the end I think that's what give its character, because I use also color pencils. So when you use this gouache and with that texture, it gives it like a different, it doesn't look that muddy or that textury. Well, it looks textury, but in a good way. Well, I think that, yeah. So this is the Diagon Alley, which is going to be the cover for Harry Potter and the Philosopher Stone, or the Sorcery Stone, wherever you know Harry Potter is the first book. So I was thinking the one that I'm painting now, there are different stores, or for example where you buy the cauldrons, or the plants where like Harry buys herbology recipes or uniforms, or also owls and different kind of brooms and like that. And yeah, and as you can tell, I use a lot of detail, and I also have like this process that I paint by layers. So as you can see, I painted first the bigger parts, and then I put another layer with the more detail, like the plants and the bricks and just lines in general for the houses or the stores. And yeah, also the details on the plants and everything with wash. I haven't changed the material afterwards, just until the end. And I really enjoyed this process because I think it's kind of very like a meditation, and that's why maybe I love details or tiny details. And I know maybe this is not a smart choice to do it in a cover, because it's supposed to, that like the cover is supposed to attract your attention at once. Probably a designer will think this is not a good idea, but it reflects my style, and I try to minimize the colors and just put focus into the part maybe leave an empty space for the title and the author. Yeah. So I will leave you with the rest of the video. I'm afraid that I lost a little bit of footage, so you're not going to see all the process of the entire painting, but at the end you're going to see the result. And if you want to see the other chapters, the illustration of the chapters, I have them in my website, so I'm just going to put the link down below of my website, and it's the Harry Potter one. It's very easy to find it, so you can tell that all of the illustration have this level of detail and pattern that I really love, and I thought it was kind of different from normally what you think about Harry Potter. And also it's kind of a mix of, well, because I lived in Cambridge before, so some of the illustrations were based like in the Cambridge students' uniforms, or like the houses. Yeah. Okay, so hopefully see you next week for next video, and I hope you enjoy the rest of this speed paint. And bye, have a nice day, and yeah, bye.